Section 6 out of 7. Here we go. So these are the videos you're going to want to watch in this section, and let me take you through some of the wonderful things here. So these are all going to be crustaceans, so this is kind of left over from the end of the last section. You've got your mantis shrimp, which has these fantastic eyes. They can have multiple different focal points on the eye, and each eye is also compound. And they have lots of different light receptors. They seem to have a lot of different pigments. So whereas we have rods and cones that can see light and dark for the rods, and then 3 colors for the 3 different cones, mantis shrimp have many more of these opsins in there. They have a wonderful array, but they seem to each be very narrowly tuned. So although the mantis shrimp can see lots of different individual colors, it doesn't see sort of the area in between those colors. It can detect exactly a particular color, and it presumably uses those to hunt things that are exactly a certain color. So they're pretty cool. You can see a mantis shrimp hunting and just destroying all kinds of ocean life in this one. These things are known to, they've been known to break the glass of aquariums. They have a really strong set of front pincers that they can whack out, and they just use them to crack giant crabs into little pieces, or just blow the arms off different animals and then eat them. They are vicious little predators. Shown down here is a special kind of crustacean that you will find. It will go into various kinds of fish's mouth. It will then consume the tongue of the fish. It'll actually eat it, and it will attach itself to the blood vessels at the bottom of the tongue and feed on those forever. And so you'll pull this fish out of the ocean, and when you open its mouth, there's a thing that looks like a great big bug in there, because it is a little blood-sucking, tongue-eating crustacean. So yeah, have a look at those. Just revel in the weirdness of that. This is a wonderful video, the hermit crab shell exchange. So this shows what they do, because as hermit crabs grow, of course, they can shed their exoskeleton, which is fine. But in addition to an exoskeleton, they also have a seashell, a used-up mollusk shell that they wear on the outside to protect their soft back sides. And this shows how they change shells. They actually line up, and it's fairly orderly. Yeah. Then down here, barnacles don't seem like arthropods, but they totally are. The young stages of barnacles just look like little swimming crustaceans. Yeah, absolutely normal. And then they're going to sit down, and they're actually going to go through a metamorphosis, and they're going to turn into that thing. So those barnacles, the things that get all over the inside, or the bottoms of ships and the outsides of rocks, are just more arthropods. So arthropods are everywhere. Now this is showing barnacle mating. So these particular barnacles are both male and female, like separately, not hermaphrodites. But you know that barnacles are stuck down in one spot. So the question is, how do they mate? Most creatures in this sort of situation would just broadcast. They just spew sperm or eggs out into the ocean and hope for the best and, walk away. Not barnacles. The male barnacles have evolved a very, very long penis that's able to reach far greater than the actual width of the body of the barnacle. And it goes out and, without knowing whether a nearby barnacle is male or female, it just sort of taps on the top. And then if that barnacle is female and receptive, then, yeah, the wandering penis will mate. Yeah. It's really something, really something. Let's see. This is a lovely little video with Copepods and Ostracods and Daphnia. So these are some of those other crustaceans that are on the way toward being a little closer to insects, but not quite there. This is a Copepod having a poo. You can see that. This is a Copepod with little eggs. They carry them in a little sack down by their, I guess, their bottom legs. I'm not a Copepod expert, but Dr. Allard is. You should ask him any questions about things like copepods and ostracods and water fleas, because he actually knows the answer, which is really cool. So ostracods, also called seed shrimp, you can see them here swimming around. I think they're in the inside of an exoskeleton of some other kind of arthropod. Supergiant amphipod that you get in deep ocean trenches here. Pretty cool. If you were to look up on YouTube as well, you can see there are nice videos that show you how to prepare isopod sushi. So this is another kind of an arthropod crustacean. It looks similar to one of those little pill bugs or roly-polies, I guess you'd call them, that live under rocks. But it's giant and it's in the ocean, and oh my gosh, yes, you can make sushi out of it. Of course you can, yeah. And then we've got fish lice here. These things are little parasites of fish, but they are once again arthropods. All right, so let's go to the next section of arthropods. So this is the section where we're going to get into all those other things that are not quite insects, and the last section will be just for insects. So just admire these things. Copepods. Look at those wonderful modified front appendages. Look how great those are. So here's a little drawing of one, and it seems really fanciful until you actually see one close up, and then you say, wow, you know what? Yeah, that drawing's pretty accurate. Yeah, just fascinating looking little creatures. Here's another one. This one is, I believe, the same one that they will sometimes sell in the science section of toy stores. I believe this one might be a triops. If not, it is a relative of that. It's a thing called a horseshoe shrimp. And it is another crustacean out of all the many crustaceans. And it's got some interesting primitive features, just sort of the way it's put together. These are water fleas, so this would be a thing called Daphnia, and yeah, it's got, there's a little internal Daphnia. You can see all its little organs, and its little heart is there, and its little ovaries and baby embryos. That's very cute. They're going to have these sort of forked antenna with little brushy ends coming off of those, and they have a nice little red ocellus down here, and a great big red compound eye that actually has these little bubbles that move around it. You will have seen that in one of the videos, the one that is like really nice shots through a microscope of pond life. Really gorgeous. This one down here looks to me very similar to one of those, one of the little shrimps they call sea monkeys. Yeah. Here is a cutaway of an Ostracod, and you can see it is just a regular old arthropod, but it's grown its shell all the way around itself, and so that's fine. And it's got little muscles that can pull that shell shut or open it up. Oh, pardon me. And it's got little appendages down here, so it's got all these mouth parts up here and antenna. And yeah, the thoracic legs, the thoracopods, are in there. These are like an evolutionary vestige, I believe. And then this great big caudal ramus is going to be used for actually sort of walking along or swimming along. It's going to be their propulsion. Here's another little marine copepod, and so you can see the abdomen actually looks quite different in these. It's actually got segments down in its abdomen. And here's another one. There's where the abdomen starts, and there are the segments in it. And yeah, every single one of these has slightly different patterns of legs or antenna or eyes. A lot of these copepods will have just a single sort of consolidated eye spot right in the middle of their head, including some of the ones that you can get out of the pond right there on university campus. So these are little, I think that may be a copepod, or that may be, no, I think that's a copepod still. And yeah, they carry their eggs in little sort of groups, and they're pretty symmetrical on either side, and they've got these sort of little branched appendages on the back end. Very characteristic, and there are ocean-going versions and freshwater versions of those, I believe. And there's just a look at the front end. You can see all the modified legs that form mouth parts, and you can see the actual antennae coming off here. So the antennae, remember, are in front of the brain. The brain would be right up in here. And then these are all actually modified legs. And so that's the basic arthropod plan. Yeah, get some legs, modify some of those legs, and do something neat with them. Eat, filter, move, whatever. These are barnacles. This is the barnacle when it's open. Here is the creature inside. So it's just grown an exoskeleton all the way around itself. And then kind of like a hermit crab, but in extreme mode, the little critter is going to be inside of this. The feathery stuff at the top is going to be for filter feeding, and these are little appendages on the arms that they're going to use for that. And so they're going to catch food and then push it into their mouths. And we did have a bunch of goose barnacles, which look just like this, for you to dissect for your wonder and amazement. Okay, and so what they're going to do is they're going to wave around their little cirri, and that's these little modified legs, essentially. And yeah, they can stroke with them. And that's how they actively feed. They're going to basically rake the water and curl and bring everything in and then rake it back again. Yeah. So that's when they're actively feeding. When they're just passively feeding, letting stuff come to them, then they can go just sort of round and round up there. They don't really focus on folding up. So in the videos of the barnacles, where you see the barnacles mating with each other, have a look. See what the little cirri are doing. See if they are actively or passively feeding. Okay, here is a crab, and this one has, yeah, the egg sac of a parasitic barnacle. How fantastic. So this external sac back here is actually one of these parasites. And so we're not sure if barnacles are all modified from this parasite, or if this parasite is kind of like a barnacle that's figured out how to colonize crabs. But yeah, it's the parasite's going to stop the reproduction of its host, the crab, and it's going to stimulate the female to disperse parasite eggs as if they were her own eggs. Yeah, so isn't that absolutely nefarious? I think so. Okay, that's the end of the crustacean section.